Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishmas Imi Moirasi Rusbas Mordechai. First of all, I want to apologize to everyone for the very, very delayed share. Just to explain, I'm out here in South Africa on a safari with my family. The last real vacation that I took with my wife was 3 years ago, I believe. I did take a skiing trip with two of my boys, but this is the first time that all my children are together, almost all, besides my daughter with her two children. I'm trying to be present with them and go on these game drives and everything, which I did. The challenge is getting internet over here and sending the shiurim, and I spent hours trying to upload the shiur and it wouldn't go, and it stopped and went and tried this, tried that. On top of that, my suitcases never arrived. They got stuck in Eretz Yisrael. They are now in Johannesburg somehow, somewhere. Hopefully we'll get them. That being said, so I didn't have a computer yesterday because my charger was in my suitcase, etc., etc. To make a long story short, at about 11:30, 12, one of the rangers here told me that there's better internet at a different lodge and he'll walk me there. So we walked together. And he said, I encountered a leopard here yesterday and I encountered wild dogs. It was actually exciting. I thought maybe I'll get to see a leopard finally. And I sat there for probably an hour and a half and we got it uploaded. So thank you for understanding. Thank you for being patient. By the way, the streak is still on because I did give a share yesterday and I did upload the share yesterday. Some of you got it, I hope. So just real quickly, I want to read two quick emails. Just wanted to send you an email with Divrei Chizuk and to say thanks for the daf today. Kesubos daf lamed daled. You always say it's not about the daf, about the Yomi, and actions speak louder than words. Well, this is certainly the case with today's daf. I have no idea how much stress you must be going through, and hope you took your tefillin in your hand luggage. Yes, I took my tefillin, I took a Gemara, but I don't have my Sfarim with me. And I don't have chargers and cables and the cameras and the lighting, the kitzer. But still you deliver the daf. What sort of message is sent to us? A simple one, just do it. Make the effort and try your best. Doesn't matter where you are, what the circumstances are, just do it. Yishkoyach. Thanks again and have a wonderful day. Vacation, your Talmud, since Beitza, Mark Duke, Burhamwood, England. I think that's how you say it, something like that. Yishkoyach, yes. What's upsetting is that I want to be with my family 100%, and I'm thinking about uploads. There's a lion, by the way, we didn't see the actual kill, but we saw the lion eating a zebra. Maybe Yosef will post a picture that I took or more. By the way, yesterday I was by the water hole, and I said there's elephants, lions, zebras, all sorts of things come by, and of course during shir, nothing. 3 minutes after shir was over, a herd of at least 15 elephants walked by. Right behind me, you don't see it as well because it's kind of obscured by but there are giraffes that walk by, there are elephants. You get to see that kind of stuff, but very rare, so if I notice it, I'll try to point it out. Niflois habayra. I could go on and on about the giraffe and the special valve it has in its neck so that it doesn't die when it bends down to drink water, the blood doesn't flow. The elephant, mamish, a creature from out of this world. We'll go into it a different time. There's one more here. By Rechmiel Seplowitz. Regarding the guy who told you to keep your hadras panim for a while regarding my beard. As a fellow shaver who gets the same unsolicited advice every year after Sphira and the 3 weeks, here's my advice on how to respond. Shave the Altaisa. Love it. Rechmiel Seplowitz, Monsey, New York. The Parnas HaChodesh for the Koilel is the zchus, all the new people that joined, and by Avi and Rachel Kamiansky, in memory of Rachel's mother, Reza Gittel Bas Esther. Rita should be a male on behalf of us and our children. The Mesechta sponsored Nishmas Yosef Baruch ben Moshe Aaron and Moshe Elazar ben Shalom, and for the hatzlacha, the Chol Inyanim for my children. The Mesechta is sponsored by Jeff Rosner, zchus my son Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Sara Klein Refuah Shlaima. Parnas HaChodesh by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood New Jersey, because Torah is the best segula. Parnas HaChodesh Shragi Chafetz RL149 is zchus for my family, myself, and for the Tzaddikim of RL Hatzalah. Parnas HaChodesh number 3, Linishmas Zechariah Ben Moshe. Parnas HaChodesh number 4, Benjy Estie Israel Family, in memory of our Zayde Moshe Menora and 3 cousins, Sara Klein, Ricki Racheli Menora, on the 12th yard side. The neshama should all have an aliyah. Parnas HaChodesh number 5, Dr. Avrum Epstein, in memory of my precious Southern Belle wife, mother and grandmother, Rita Gay Epstein. I hope I stop choking up eventually. Parnas HaShavua for Shidduch for Talia Esther Bas Tzivia. And this was a sponsorship for yesterday. I hope everything went well, by David Carfunkel, Refuah Shlaima for Esther Bas Tzivia. Esther Bas Tzivia for successful medical procedure. Refuah Shlaima. Josh Hirschberg, Linishmas Imi Mirasi, Yehuda's Bas Rav Yaakov Akhoyen on her 20th yard side. Hudi Newman, in honor of Rebelli, the greatest Magid Shir, and all who are starting day 1 of a 1,000-day Daf streak. Rabbi Sai, here we go. Today is Daf Lamed Hey. Yesterday we had Rev Dimi. Tremendous chiddush that he's saying that if a person was a shoygeg, because if he wasn't a shoygeg, he was a mazid, he would have kamlei b'derabimnei. If he would be chayiv malchus, he'd be chayiv misa. He wouldn't have to pay money. So even though he's a shoygeg, and today he's not going to have any oynesh, it's the case where he doesn't have to pay. He doesn't have to pay any money at all, according to Rish Lakish. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, he's chayiv. Eis ve'Rish Lakish, the Rabbi Yochanan. This is interesting because I noticed it's very possible that Rish Lakish didn't ask this question at all. It's the Gemara assuming that this is a kash on Rabbi Yochanan, but later on we're going to see that there's an agreement here. It says in the pasuk that if a person strikes a woman and she loses her child, the pashup shot is, and she doesn't die, then he has to pay money. Daf Lamed Hey Amud Aleph. My love, asay mamish. L'chayra, we're talking about that she doesn't die, and therefore we can make a diuk. What's the diuk? However, what if she does die? Then he doesn't pay. Only if she doesn't die does he pay, but if she does die, he doesn't pay, even if there's no asra. And that's what Rish Lakish is saying. In a case where he doesn't even die, he's supposed to, but he doesn't because there's no warning, there's no asra. You see, you don't have to pay a knas. That's a kash on Rabbi Yochanan. Says the Gemara law, din asan. Interesting. Asan is not going on the woman, that there was no tragedy with her, that she didn't die. Asan is going on the guy that struck the woman. V'lo asan. Either she didn't die, from his perspective, there's no tragedy for him, she didn't die, or there's no asra. Iked Amri, and some say the reverse. It's the same question answer, but we're ending up in the opposite spot because we're starting from the end. It says in the pasuk, if there's no tragedy, then he has to pay money. My love, then asayin l'chayra, it's talking about the man. Loi asayin mamish, we're talking about the woman. If, and then you make a deal. But if she does die, then you don't pay a knas. Omar Rava. Says Rava, is there anybody that holds that if they would have killed B'mezil, let's say, so they would be chayiv. So now that it's b'shoigeg, does anybody hold that you have to pay money? Doesn't everybody agree to Rish Lakish? Everybody should agree to this idea that just because the concept, there's a kamlei b'derabimnei in theory, so to speak. It's a situation where you could get misa, you could have to get malchus. So since there is no misa, there is no malchus because of some other reason, there's no warning, you still don't pay. You still have a kamlei b'derabimnei. Everybody should agree to that. Why? Listen to this. Maki adam umaki behema. So here's the pasuk, chart number 1. Umaki behema yishalmeno, umaki adam yumas. The pasuk says both an animal and a human. So that's a hekesh. We're going to say that they're both similar. What does it say about an animal? It says that if you strike an animal, you pay. And the Gemara is going to tell us you pay in every situation. Shogeg, mezid, up, down, left, right. So Memela, listen to this. A human is the same thing, but in reverse. A human, you never pay. There's never tashlumim. And that's what Rav is saying. Everybody should agree to this pasuk. In other words, in all situations, when you kill, when a person kills, umaki adam yumas, he dies. So even in a situation where he doesn't die because there's a shogeg, or in a situation where there's no asra, he doesn't die, but he struck somebody, he killed somebody, it's similar to behema. Just like behema, you always pay. So by a human being, you never pay. When you kill somebody, you never pay, even b'shogeg. There's no difference between a shogeg and mezid. Whether you decided to kill this animal and you killed the second animal, doesn't matter your kavana. It doesn't matter if your sword was going downwards or upwards, because if you look at the next chart, in chart number 2, it's talking about shogeg. When do you go to Ar Miklat? When are you goyla? When you kill somebody by mistake, you go into Golos, you go to Ar Miklat. Only if it was vayapel olav, if it was a downward motion, you struck him this way. But if you lifted the axe upwards and you killed him in the upward motion, you are potter. But when it comes to an animal, there's no difference, up, down, left and right, shogeg mezid. There's no difference. So Mela, everybody agrees that by a human being also, you're potter from mammon. I just don't want any animals sneaking up from behind. And I heard, so we had baboons come through the camp the other day, yesterday, a little snake. In our room, we have some creatures we'll talk about at a different time. Lizards, mice, giant spiders. Ella, Kiyasarav and Omar, listen to this. Everybody, even Rebbe Yochanan holds that if you killed somebody by mistake, then you potter from the knas, you potter. That's why I believe Esver Rish Lakish Rebbe Yochanan on the bottom of Amud Beis is a theoretical question. It doesn't mean that Rish Lakish actually asked Rebbe Yochanan. It's something he could have asked, but look, you see Rebbe Yochanan agrees to this. Where's the machlokes when it comes to somebody that has to get malchus? Had he done it b'mezi to get malchus today, it's a shogeg, and he's also chayiv davar acher, something else, mammon. Again, like I mentioned yesterday, davar acher is a terrible thing. The Gemara calls money. It's not a good thing, money. This is a davar acher. Rabbi Yochanan chayiv, but when it comes to malchus and money, Rabbi Yochanan says here you have to pay. Why? If you go back to chart number... Oh, no, they don't want to go to the charts. I don't know what. Okay. If you go back to chart number 1, so there's a hekesh between Behema and Adam, but that's only in death. For the death penalty, then you don't pay anything to the human, killing a human. But when it comes to Malchus, says Rebbe Yochanan, it's not in that pasuk. So you would be chayiv money. No, you are potter. Why? You see, there is, the Torah puts them together, even Malchus, in a case of Malchus and money. I'm sorry. Where did Rish Lakish come up with this? You can't just make it up. Obviously, he has a drasha. So we have actually 2 possibilities. Abaye and Rava. Amar Abaye Asir Rasha. Chart number 3. L'sikhu koifer. This is by ritzicha, by murder. Koifer l'nefesh ritzeach ashehu Rasha lamos. It says Rasha, and then it says by Malchus. V'hayim binach koiser Rasha. We're familiar with this pasuk. Harasha. So Rasha. Rava Amar Asir make. So Rashi right away points out that Rava is not learning out two words like we're learning out over here, like Abai is learning Rasha. He's learning out, as the Gemara is going to explain at the end, concepts. The concept of hitting, which is a very, very interesting Gzeir Shava. I don't recall such a Gzeir Shava. We're doing a Gzeir Shava in not words, which we always do, but the idea, the concept. Hitting. Says the Gemara. I want to wrap up the Rava. Hey, Maki, where did Rava learn it? From that pasuk, you hit an animal. Umaki odom yumos. The pasuk we had in chart 1. Habik toliksiv. We're trying to bring a raya to Malchus, and that pasuk is death. Elo hay Maki, different one. Maki nefesh beimishal meno, nefesh dachas nefesh. And it says next to it, V'ish ki'itein mum ba'misa. Now notice, it doesn't say the word makeh, it says the word mum. He makes him lame, gives him a nice zetz. Kasher also can yasalai. Says the Gemara, v'haylav makehi, but it doesn't say the word makeh. Gzeir Shava has the identical word. Sometimes we have a similar word. U'ba'akayin v'shavakayin. So maybe that's similar to that kind of Gzeir Shava. It means the same thing. Shav and ba means the same thing. Okay. But over here, says the Gemara, mum and maka mean the same idea. I think it's a little more than v'shav u'ba. Anana ka kamrina. We're talking about hitting, and v'ish ki'itin mum is hitting. Okay. Says the Gemara, but wait a minute. You just brought me a pasuk from the reverse. You just brought me a pasuk. That pasuk is a pasuk that's talking about hitting a friend. Now, at the end of the day, we said this already, we learned that if somebody hits his friend, you don't take his eye, you don't give him, he pays. And we're trying to find a place that he gets malchus. Says the Gemara, you're right. Since there's another pasuk over there that talks about hitting and paying when it's a pruta, so this pasuk is completely extra, and therefore must be going on a situation where he hit somebody and he didn't even do damage of a full pruta. And since we have Gzeir Shava to the animal, human to an animal, so he's potter from even the small amount, less than the pruta. Daf Amud Beis. Sponsored by Moshe Horn in honor of Zach, the Rock, Rocklin, and Lenny Lerner, CPA, and Yankel Cohen, the official MDY MSP, and Hoodie Newman again. Here he is again. How many shtuchs in one day? In honor of Rebelli, I love this guy. I got to meet him. Maybe I did meet him a bunch of times. In honor of Rebelli, the real greatest Jewish basketball player who ever lived. Shkoyach. So if I was hoping that some of the giraffes heard that. I don't know. Why did I say the whole thing? Basic nicht. Says the Gemara, but what kind of rye is that? At the end of the day, less than a pruta is not considered money at all. So what do we learn from here? Says the Gemara, there is money. Even though it's less than a pruta, it's more than a pruta. What's the situation? When he was hitting him, he tore his clothing. And that's the chiddush, that he doesn't have to pay for that clothing. Who told you that we're talking about during the weekday? And there's no difference. Maybe the pasuk is talking about Dafke Shabbos. And if it's talking about Shabbos, we are forced to say that we're talking about Shogeg. Because if it's Mazid, he hit him b'Mazid on Shabbos, he's Chayv Misa. Chayv Misa, Kam Li B'Derabimene. Dilum Shabbos, says Gemara, you can't say that. What's the case? If there's no asra, it has to be the same animal and human. It has to be the same situation, same case. If there was zero warning, you can't kill somebody without warning. So of course we're talking about that there was warning. And that's why he deserves capital punishment. If it's Shabbos, how does he pay? So don't ask me when he's talking about Shabbos. We're forced to say it's talking about a weekday. Oh, now the Gemara is basically going to give us a little bit of a chazara of everything that we learned. Not everything, but a lot of the shittas that we learned. And it's good to review this once in a while. Says Rav Papa Abai. The Rabba the Omar Chidushu Shechitcha Torah. So going to chart number 4. Let's a little bit even more review if we can, if I remember. We had a contradiction between the two Mishnayos. Our Mishnah says that if somebody's ma'anis, all these women that are usher to him, he pays a knas. The Mishnah in Makkah says that he gets malchus. Now we have a concept that you don't get mishum risha achas tamachayvay. You only get one einish, you don't get two. Which one is it? So on top of the chart we have the shita of Rabbi Meir. No, he says loike umishalim. You could have both. Now Rabbah, and that's the question we're asking now on Rabbah. Rabbah says in Rabbi Meir, he explains Rabbi Meir, that if somebody does tvicha, he shechs an animal on Shabbos, which would give him a chi of misa, you'd be chayiv misa for shechting an animal on Shabbos. He is chayiv dalid vehei. He's chayiv the money, the 4 and the 5. In other words, he holds that Remeir says his shita even with the death penalty. Misa, you get dalid vehei. Rish Lakish, on the other hand, if you remember, holds that doesn't apply. We're forced to say it's talking about he sent a messenger to do the shechita. So the messenger gets misa and he pays the 4 and the 5. And the Gemara says, how's it possible? It's a messenger. Yes, he pays. Okay. So with that part, 3 out of the 6 says the Gemara. But according to Rabbah, we have a little bit of a problem. According to Rish Lakish, great, we could say that our Mishnah goes according to Remeir, and as he explained, it's a shliach. The Rabbah b'knas. According to Rabbah, who says that when it comes to knas, you could pay and could get malchus. V'af agav the mikdal, and even if you get the death penalty, you get misa, mishalim, you do pay a knas. Masnisin. Kiman moikim lo. How does he explain the Mishnah? If it's like Remeir, kasha bitoy. His own daughter, if he's manis his own daughter, he's chayiv misa. If he's chayiv misa, he's potter from a knas. But according to you, in Remeir, you'd be chayiv a knas. Now, let's go down to the 4th thing, the purple. And the Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana also holds like Remeir. Loika or Mishalim. And he says that even if somebody is chayiv kares, he's potter from, it's like chayiv misa. He's like with Rish Lakish, that when it comes to misa, you don't get a punishment, you don't get a knas. But not only misa, even kares, even misa min hashamayim. So we have a problem with achoisai, because achoisai, which is kares, you do pay a knas. That's in our Mishnah. You pay a knas. But according to Rabbi Chulun ben Akana, you wouldn't pay a knas. You see how we're doing a nice chazara here. Rabbi Yitzchak says that a chayiv krisos, like a sister, doesn't get malchus. So, kashim mamzeres. How is it possible that a mamzeres, which you don't get malchus, you chayiv a knas? Says the Gemara, if a mamzeres If a mamzeres you chayiv malchus, why should you pay knas? Even if you don't get the malchus, you shouldn't pay knas. Says the Gemara, if Rabba holds like Rabbi Yochanan, that somebody that's chayiv malchus does pay knas, great. Unami, says the Gemara, like Rabbi Yochanan, he'll have to say that he holds like Rabbi Yochanan, everything fits in. Eli Stefansky Rish Lakish, what if he holds like Rish Lakish, that if you're chayiv and you don't even get the malchus, you don't pay a knas? So how come by his sister you pay a knas? We're forced to say that Rabba in red holds like Rabbi Yochanan all the way on the bottom. The two reds, the light red and the dark red, match up. Omalera of Masnala Abaya. Lirish Lakish do Omar Beferish Rips a Torah Chayve, according to Rish Lakish Beferish Rips the Torah. Domar Beferish Rips the Torah Chayve Malkias Ki Chayve Misais, that even who's somebody who's should be getting malchus if it was b'mezid, but if it's b'shaygeg, he's also potter from a knas. Why? In theory, he doesn't really get the malchus, but if he could have gotten the malchus in a situation where he could have, if it was b'mezid, so even b'shaygeg, he doesn't have to pay. Mantana, sorry, Mantana de Palgalei. Who argues on Chana that he says that the Chayiv increases Yechayev? Ire Meir, Rabbi Yitzchak. It's either Rabbi Meir or Rabbi Yitzchak that Chayiv increases, you don't get Malchus. We'll just do the next few lines. It's connected to Daf Lamed Vav. I see we're doing very well on time here. Nobody's asking questions, no jokes, no stories. Safari Gemara. Tanur Rabbanan. Arayis ushnius la'arayis ein lem knas. V'loi pitur. The arayis, we're going to have to explain. Arayis, and this second category of arayis, not the Rabbanan, but the Araisa arayis, the shnius, the shnius that are the Araisa. There's no knas. And there's no 50 for mefata, for a seducer. Hamima'enes, a girl whose mother married her off, and she has the ability to say in the middle of her marriage, she's still a ketana, she could tell her husband, I don't want to be married to you, yevshibach, ein lo knas. If somebody's ma'anes her, no knas. If somebody's mefata her, no pitur. Islandess, and a woman who's found out that she can't have children, she's an island, she has a simon of islandess, ein lo loy knas v'loy pitur. No knas. And a woman who went out because her husband accused her of being mizano, ein lo loy knas v'loy pitur, doesn't have knas and pitur. And with that, Rabbi Isai, this is going to be a record, only 28 and a half minutes. I don't know if something walked by during shir. I didn't notice anything. I could maybe send a video, attach a video of things that I saw today if anybody's interested, maybe do a supplement or something. But Akopanim, have a wonderful day.